and tag you while people are coming in. Yeah, I've been kicked off of X. I've been reprimanded by Facebook. They've threatened to close it down. One more strike and I'm out. Still got YouTube, although there's a bit of shadow banning on that.
Oh,
Okay.
I've been shadow banned. I've
Yeah.
been shadow.
Well, I've been shadow banned in the past, but this time they really came down hard on me. Let me just tag you. And then, yeah, everything's just kind of come to a head. I lost my phone about 4 or 5 days ago in Mexico, which I'm here illegally. Virginia Drake. Boom. Yeah, so this should be interesting getting back across the border, given the circumstances in the United States right now. Here we go. But
Yeah, that'd
yeah.
be interesting. But
Okay.
you're American. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I am, but yeah, you just don't know with these people. You know, I went to Canada in 2024, and I tried to call because I can't get a passport, and so I went to
Why
Canada.
why
It's
can't you get
the system, just the system. You know, that's all I'll say. It's child support related, but that's still it's not. It's not. Doesn't make it right. Let me put it that way. So I'm faced with either going to court, spending thousands of dollars, which I don't have, to do some forensic accounting, because I didn't get credit for two of my kids for years and years. So I'm actually in the black, but they've got me in the red. So anyway, I went to Canada and I couldn't get across there. They wouldn't let me get across because I had a misdemeanor, two misdemeanors from when I was younger, and they wouldn't let me across. But I don't think that's what it was about. And then when I came back to get when they turned me back and I came back to go across the American side, they hassled me for like 5 hours. So yeah, I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm not afraid. I think this is a perfect. Let me put your name up. This is a perfect show to have at this time. Or here we go. Boom, Virginia Drake. Because of who you are and our connection and the timing, I can't go into all of it. I guess we could go into some of it, but it was 13 years ago. 13 years ago, I had my very first Zoom call ever with you. You reached out to me. We had a talk. You were one of the first people I ever talked to in regard to all this stuff, because I'd been on the streets for a couple of years, and I came off the streets. My mom gave me a computer. I started putting images to my words, and then you and me and Jeremy came into contact. I think it was you first, and oh my God, somebody's knocking on the door. It's my hang on a second.
go on this
Oh my God,
this
this is.
um,
Well, oh my God. Well, now I know what happened. That was my landlord. He lives next door. What a day. Virginia Drake, it's good to see you. This is a very important time for me, and I'm glad to be in your presence because I can feel a huge move coming on for me, much like the ones that I was experiencing when we met. So, yeah, it's time. It's game time. But what you were saying earlier about the last time we talked, and you were wanting to talk about certain things, and I think that time has come again.
me too. I
Yeah,
think it's time we are really telling the truth
yeah,
that we are light, that we are God, and that we are particles because I've done it all. I've
Yeah.
done every bit of that. And when I've done it, that's made me want to do it, for teach other people to do it, because we got to wake up. We've
Yeah.
got to. That's what I was trying. When I contacted you, I had it. But you got to understand, I've been talking about this for over 30 years.
Yeah.
And I've had several near death experiences since we talked.
Wow.
Out of body experiences. I've gone really deep in, I got on a video and over 1 million views. Jeremy and I got caught up in all of that. I was having 15 and 16,000 people trying to get in my email just to talk to me.
Right.
It was crazy because people are starting to wake up. They're
Yeah.
ready to really look at the truth and to really recognize who we really are. We're light beings. We're not from here.
No.
Our flesh is here, but our spirit is soaring a lot of other places.
Yes, it is.
So we have to start waking up to this. And oh my gosh, I've been told I was crazy. But I know I'm right. I know I'm right. And because I've already done it. Once you've done it, there's no, I believe. I don't believe, I know.
Right.
I know the truth. And
The
once
truth.
you know the truth, yeah, why would you even want to have anything else but the truth?
Well, that's the only way. It's all that's left, and everything's being stripped away now. Like I know. I'll just tell you real quick what happened to me. I came down here a year and a half ago, and and I came down with my partner, she's from Australia,
Right.
and obviously I'm from the U.S. I can't get a passport. She can't get into the U.S. So we came to Mexico, and on June the 1st, she had to go back to Australia, and it was very sudden. And so I found myself sitting here going, okay, what am I going to do here? I just got a house sit in this little bitty town called La Peñita, and 2 blocks from the beach through October the 15th. And I thought, well, I'll just do the house sit till October 15th and I'll go back. And when I got to October 15th, I heard, no, you're not going back yet. Go get an apartment. And I went around the corner, got an apartment, and just did my work, and took in all these energies and watching everything that's happening, which is accelerated from the last time we talked. Obviously, there's so much stuff in the news, and we know that's all an inducement. This is the stuff we need to talk about, and so, but also the individual journeys, like you're talking about these out of body experiences. The level of paranormal and psychic activity that I've had in the last 3 to 4 months has been like it was when I was on the streets and I was walking with angels and having experiences with dark and light. And so I woke up this morning and I knew something's happened. Something has really, really happened. And I feel like what you're bringing up now is really the bottom line. I'm
It
not,
is.
I lost my phone, my only way of getting cash, my card. It's not working. It's gone. It won't work anymore. It's been used so much. So here I am, right? And I am not afraid. If I have to walk back or wherever I go, maybe I'll go to Guatemala. Who knows? But we have to stop living. We don't have to do anything. But I'm just saying. I think what's the opportunity that we've been given is to be the spirit flesh once and for all, and to really accept what we are, because this whole external has nothing on us, nothing. It's some kind of mind game that
No, it's a big what it is. What I see it is because I've already been out so many times. I can see it. I know exactly what they're doing, and you know, it is flat here. The Earth is a lie. They've been lying to us for a long time about it all. There's not one thing that is the truth. And this is where I got mad in the first place in 1998 when I had my first near death experience that I remembered. And that's when I got mad because I was a teacher. So if you're teaching the facts, that's one thing, but I wasn't teaching the facts. I was not teaching to the future of the truth. And that's when I got really, really mad. And that's when I went after the Catholics. That's when I went after all the religious. That's when I went. And I've been doing it, like I said, for almost 30 years. But now I'm at the point at 75 years old. I really don't give a shit anymore if they get upset with me or anything. Because after you've already done all the work that I've done, and I've done deep work, I mean, I melt my bones. I mean, Jeremy and I are real close, and we've been doing a lot of work together for the last 17 years. Can you imagine?
Yeah, I can't imagine because I met you 13 years ago.
Yeah,
And y'all were two of the first friends I ever made on Facebook.
yeah.
And
I
so,
love what you were saying, though, Todd. I loved what you were saying because you're the only man that I knew that was speaking like me. Most men look at me and they see a blonde headed, at that time I was blonde, I think, when we were talking, or, boobs or something worse. That's all. I wanted to be more than that. I wanted them to look at me, and that's the way I used to be because when I was younger, they would talk to my boobs and never talk to my face. And I used to be really bad about that in the 70s because I was in college, and I would bend down and say, "Do you want to talk to me or do you want to talk to my chest?" So I've been like this all my life, honey. My father died when I was 16. I was my mother's seventh miscarriage, and I should have died then.
yeah.
In 1951, I was only a pound and 7 ounces. I've drowned twice, two strokes, and I didn't even go to the hospital with the two strokes. I did it myself. So you can't tell me we can't heal. And right now, I had a situation just about 5 or 6 months ago that I was in the hospital because I couldn't breathe. And the doctor, I had a Japanese doctor, and this is what blew me away. He kept saying to me, he said, "For you to be the age you are, you should be able to be healing like this." First thing, because I had such a severe infection, obviously, and then I have heart condition already, and I've had two strokes. So he was concerned about all of that. And finally, when I walked out of there in less than 24 hours, he looked at me and he said, "How'd you do that?" I said, "Because I work with the electromagnetic field. I'm a soul. I know electricity. I know how to change it. I needed your antibiotics so I could get through it." And he looked right at me and looked and said, "Are you teaching this?" And I said, "Absolutely." And he said, "Thank God."
Wow.
See, even the doctors know. My doctors today don't even like to talk to me because I shame them. I'm old. Once you're old, you can shame them. You can say anything you want to shame them. I mean, I have two doctors that I know personally because I taught one of them their sons, and I let them have it. I said, "Would you done that to your son?" Oh, he didn't say anything. They don't say anything to me, but they know when I walk into that room, they know I'm going to chew them up because we watch people dying and they did it. Only reason why I know this, Todd, is because they did it to my father in 1968. My father got melanoma. He was in the Navy, came back from World War II, and he got melanoma. In Lexington, Kentucky, at the University of Kentucky, they experimented on him. And what they did is we had $100,000 bill in the hospital in 1968 because he had so much that they were trying to work on. And my father couldn't do it because my father he sold magazines. He was so afraid that they were going to take the house in the car. We only had one car. You got to understand, this is in the 60s. My dad literally sold his soul to them to experiment on him. And he is a hero because he's the one that they recognized about the cancer. And they gave him cancer. They gave him cancer on those vaccines. They have been doing this to us for centuries.
That's right.
And we are old. We're old. I know I'm old, but they don't want to look at that because they think I'm old, but I'm old from an ancient time.
That's
And
right.
I know. And when I've gone through these different near death experiences, I know also I've got dragon blood. My last name, Drake. And I was informed that I'm with the ancient dragons that have been doing this for a long, long time. And we are very old and very aware of why we've come back. Jeremy's the same way I am. And most likely you're a dragon. We're spiritual warriors because we're not afraid. I'm
Yeah.
definitely not afraid. I told him, I said, I've already died, honey. So what are you going to do to me?
Well, I tell you what, I woke up not afraid today like I haven't been in since I went homeless.
Well, when I saw that we couldn't get on, that is all divine order, divine
Yeah.
timing of everything now. And when I saw it that you couldn't come in, I thought, I knew because I've learned out of these podcasts. Do you know how many podcasts I have been on? Hundreds, hundreds. I've been all over the world and never left my room
Yeah.
because I went to Vietnam. I went to Vietnam spiritually, and I knew because I demonstrated against the war in Vietnam. I was an active person that was, I mean, I was after everything and anything because I was angry about the whole damn place.
Yeah.
They don't mess with a person like us. Especially, I mean, and then my ex-husband had been molested by a priest, and we did sue the Catholic Church, and we won
Wow.
big time. And
Wow.
then I've gotten other people that involved in the churches because our church is wrong. They're
Yeah.
not telling you the truth.
That's right.
And if we don't start, yeah, you know this. I mean, I'm telling that I'm singing to the choir, but the people we want to sing to is the fact we all can do this. We're not special, Todd.
Right.
We're all special.
That's right.
And a lot of them have lost their souls in their who they really are. And I'm not going to allow that. Not with my children or my grandchildren. They're my first thoughts. It's my children.
It's coming to a head, isn't it?
It's already at a head, honey.
Yeah.
When I get knocked out as much as I've been knocked out trying to get me out of here,
Mm-hmm.
oh, I know that. I have caused a lot of problems, and I'm not going to stop. And I've told a lot of my friends, I've already done my will and everything. We're going to have a big meeting. And I said, I want you all to do an open mic. That's what I want. I want everybody to talk about me. I said, tell them anything bad about me. I said, tell everything about me. Because I said, I'm going to be sitting right there and listen to every one of you. I've got champagne ordered for anybody that goes to the funeral. I've got everything straightened up. I mean, this one guy said, "Man, you really?" I said, "I'm gonna do this big. I've already been over and back so many times. I want to make sure I'm gonna be out." So, and then I
Oh,
told him, "I will find the ones that I'm gonna go talk to you." I said, "Because then you're going to find out some of the things that you wouldn't listen to me." Yeah. I mean, I've been spat on. I've been smacked. I mean, I've been told by my family that I was crazy. It was sad at first, but I'm not. I'm not upset about it anymore. This is what we came in to do, man. We came in here,
yeah.
and you had to go to hell that you. Because I try to tell people with spirituality, I said that's not a love and light kind of thing. You're going to work your butt and you're going to go into places to hell that you never thought. And I had a girl on Facebook the other day, and she said, "But there's no such thing as hell." I said, "Oh, yes, there is." And I said, in the world of man, it's hell
Yeah.
if you choose that. I
Yeah.
said, when you cross over, I said, there's no such thing as that.
Yeah. That's right.
So,
That's
yeah,
right. Yeah, that's right.
we've been
And
doing this for
it's
a long time.
it's all accessible here, and I believe you're right. I believe there's so much pressure put on that when you use the term, and I never really thought of it in this way before, the selling the soul. It sounds so horrible, but really, when we compromise our soul, we're selling our soul.
Oh,
When
absolutely.
we, you know what I mean? It could be, and really, there are so many streams in this experience, and so many of them are so subtle they've become second nature. Like, I'm going to say, you're the fact that we're talking today is very important to me. Sometimes you just the cars are aligned, right? The stars are aligned. But I was working for Home Depot as a senior executive in late 1990s and early 2000s. Second marriage, second batch of 3 kids. Making a lot of money, but having nothing left over. And I was in the grind. And I was very spiritual, but I wasn't reawoke at that time. But I made a vow 2000, no, in 19, in 2000, 1999 or 2000, I made a vow. I said, I am not going to pay taxes anymore. I'm not going to file. I'm not going to pay. It is not in my world. And somehow it was an innate thing. And I got one letter 2, 3 years later. So they owed him $175,000. I watered up, threw it in the trash, never heard from him again. And when you talk
You
about,
know, that's volunteer action.
huh?
That's a volunteer thing. We were never supposed to be taxed like that.
Exactly. Exactly.
But let me tell you what it came to me. I'm paying taxes. You know why I'm paying taxes? Because the Holy Spirit one night said, I know you're upset about this, but serve what you have to serve so you do not lose that connection that others need. And that's exactly right. I've been in jail, or they would come and got. It was more important that I stay in where
Yeah.
I'm at, even though I don't. And I mean, I'm retired, pretty much retired now, so I don't
Yeah.
spend a lot of money. And people just, I love my life. I absolutely love my life. I'm in peace. I do whatever I damn well want to. And if I, all I have to say to the universe, and this is exactly as I think I need some clients. Next say, boom, there they are. That Jeremy, I said, I really would just, I went, when I had this big video that was over 1 million, I was through the window talking to God saying, I think I'm getting ready to retire. Maybe I have to let the young ones do this. Maybe I'm supposed to sit back. And I came back through the window, sat down in my chair, and 10 minutes later, Jeff Maher calls me, texts me from Facebook and said, I really want to interview you. Well, that's what opened everything up again. Millions of people, millions, and they're still trying to find me. I mean, the only thing that scared me, Todd, was they saw my house, they knew where I lived, they knew my phone number, they knew where I was all the time. That's what scared me.
Don't you think that? Don't you think that they know where every
They
one of
already
us? They already know who
know.
we are. They've always known. I mean,
This is what,
yeah.
no,
Yeah.
well, what I think they've done is they've been watching me, tracking me, because also I may be negative. I'm one of the rarest bloodlines, and the bloodlines now are meaning a lot more than anybody's ever seen them because they didn't tell us all of that at the beginning. I started doing the research. We are different in blood. So you've got to be aware of all of that and why my diseases are different than other people's diseases because we have different blood. And that's why they tainted it. They wanted us to be one like everybody else. That's why the vaccines came in.
Yeah. Yeah, that's nasty stuff. And people, and you mentioned this earlier about your dad, but if you do research on vaccines and you go back to even like the early 1900s, like polio, there's cancer in those vaccines, and there's other things in those vaccines. So it's been that way since the beginning.
At the very beginning, because
Yeah.
I'm 75, I had to have booster shots. But I had a girl that I was in the neighborhood, and she had an iron lung with polio. That polio was not created. They created that polio. That's why today we have allergies. That first one and penicillin. That's mold. They knew exactly what they were doing. Fungus and mold do not belong in our bodies. They knew. See, I did all the research because, well, when you've crossed over, I don't have to do a lot of research. All it does is it gives me, and then I have to come back and realign everything to make sense. And that's all I do is I live in those timelines. And I've had to skip into different timelines to find out who I really am. I've been in the ages, I was Middle Ages. I was with dragons. I mean, but that's not what the deal is. A lot of people come to see me because they want me to take them to their past. I said, you don't want to be in the past. You want to find out why you learned your lessons and what you did not learn in some of those lessons because you're recreating the lessons over and over and over until you purify your soul to go home. That's what this is all about. It's nothing to do with flesh,
Yeah.
and they made everything to go into a lower frequency so we would never see who we really were. I mean, I've been teaching this for almost 30 years. and people still think I'm crazy.
I don't think so.
That's what we know.
I've been saying this for 4,500 shows that crazy isn't crazy anymore.
No.
It's not. You know, in fact, a lot of people that called us crazy are now looking at us differently these last 2 or 3
Oh,
years.
well, I've had several people that have heard me and they've called me, or old clients 10 years later, you were telling us the truth. I got that not too long ago. You didn't lie to us. You told us the truth, and we didn't believe you. I said, I know. I cried a lot about it at night, but you know what? Went on through it. I thought every day there's going to be, all I have to do is get one today. That's all. Just get somebody to hear it one time, one, because that's all we can do. But if we all come together, and I said that to you on the last show I was with you, I said, if we all could come together in the same frequency, because it's an orchestra, we have to have everybody's tone to come together in that oneness. But you got to have the tones. It's not like this person is good. We all come together as like an orchestra and we play that tone. When I started doing the research about bells, that they broke every bell all through all of it. I knew then with the Liberty Bell, and they always lied. They said the Liberty Bell was broken, it casted. That was bullshit, is
That's
what
right.
I'm saying. That's bullshit. Because they lied, because they knew its frequency. This is why I get mad. And then when I look at the churches in Europe and everywhere, those were generators. They were not churches. See, once you learn all of this, that's when I just come out with fists fighting, because I'm tired of hearing it, the lies. And if we don't wake up, now your group that you see, they wake up. They're waking up. I know they are, because I saw the last time I checked with the video that I did with you, and there was over 3,000 people on that video. So we know that people, and I've had some of the people on your podcast, they contacted me on email. And I want you to put that in there, that my email, that I want them to contact me. Because especially if they've got NDEs, because I've got to work with them in the NDEs, especially if a brand new NDE comes in, the first thing they do is the evil dark shadows start appearing. It scared the hell out of me, because I did never, I mean, I've seen demons, I've seen, when I was a little girl. But when you come into the light for the first time to really wake up, they come right in after you. And they will. They will try to. I mean, I had witches, and I'm going to just say, there were witches here. There were men that looked like vampires. I've been in it. That's why I said there is nothing that I haven't seen or experienced. And we better start seeing it, because most of these people are not dead, but they are vampire dead. And not the vampires that we're seeing this a lot. Jeremy and I started understanding this, because these Hollywood people are coming back, but as young people, but they have the same markings of the one before. So what they're doing is they're transitioning them over from another time. They're vampires, and what they're not doing blood. They're doing electromagnetic field, sniffing it right off of them. And I sat and watched a man do it to a woman, and she weakened herself right there. Because if you don't have any energy, and I know what energy is, because I was paralyzed in 2019 from the neck down. I couldn't even pick up a fork. And when they put me in an MRI, I sucked it all in just to me, and I walked out of the MRI in light, and they saw it. I had the technician and the guy that picked me up. He went, and I took my fingers like that, and I just showed him. I said, we all can do that. And then 3 days that I was in the hospital, we had people visiting me, coming in, trying to talk to me, wanting to know what I did, doctors wanting to know how I did it. Because they don't understand. I do. And I live it. So I'm in a good state.
You're incredible. So let me ask you this. Let me ask you this for everybody. Because I absolutely 100% agree. The purpose, the real purpose of these incarnations, let's put it that way. This is the only one that's on the table right now. And so I know it's not easy for a lot of people, but for me, it's always been easy to see it from the soul perspective. It
That's the only way.
you know what I mean? It allows me to not carry a charge. But here's the thing: how important does it matter or not? Is it to maintain a neutrality, maintain your field, my field, in balance and harmony? How do we handle the confronting energies that are presented in this world?
Well, first of all, you're gonna have all of that hit you. It's going to. What they've done is that's why we have a war inside of our own beings, because you're fighting the dark of yourself and the good in yourself. And then what you have to do, that's why they love the Bible, because there is a Bible within the Bible. It's not the one you were trained in religion, but I met the man. And I have a Bible right there. He put it together and he made it go into water. He said, there's a Bible within the Bible. You need to seek it. And I was a lifeguard. I learned how I dove into the Bible in water. And what I found out, it's so simple. Don't look at the words of the people. Look at the lesson. What is the lesson that did they learn that lesson, or did they not learn that lesson? That's why their names got changed in the Bible, because they literally changed their body, mind, and soul. The body is still going to be the reflection, but the soul has been completely purified, because you wouldn't be able to have another name. I mean, I'm just tired of people not waking up to see the real truth. I mean, it's such a beautiful life. When I showed my nephew, my nephew is 26 years old, and he called me one day, and he was very upset. He was very religious. He calls me, wow,
Yeah,
what was that?
it's motorcycle. It's
Right.
either motorcycles, three wheelers, or horses or bicycles.
I can do the horses because I love the gallop, but so when he called me, he was furious. He said, "I'm in hell, and I don't know why, and God doesn't love me." And he said that God doesn't love me, and I said, "Wow." I said, "What kind of God are you talking to?" That's what I want to know. And he said, "The God that I know." And then he came in. He said, "There's fake people. Fake people are on in this church." You know what was the whole problem in that church is he and his wife got pregnant first before they got married. So the church turned on them. Now this church has been with this young woman since she's been at birth, but they could not resolve the fact that they'd sinned. Okay. He called me up, and they were telling them basically that their child was illiterate. They got married, they followed the rules after that, and they were saying the baby was tainted. I lost it. I almost went over to the church. I would have slapped the minister not to be able to stand in front of those children, because those children are the most important factor, that child was blessed by the preciousness of the reunion, not by the sin. And I said, why are we not teaching this? Why are we not telling children? If my mother had told me the truth, my mother was too afraid. My mother was very much like me, Todd. She was just like I am. She saw the, dead people, ghosts, the whole thing, but she was terrified. And when my dad died at the age of 16, he walked through my hallway, and I called my mother because she was at work, and she said, "Don't tell anybody. Don't tell anybody you saw that." And I thought, oh my God. So at the age of 42, this is your third eye. This is an oscillation point out of your spirit, the spirit of the spiral. I closed it off. I had cancer that ran all the way through my third, all the way down to the 350 stitches to close me down. And when I had my near death experience, I took my fingers and opened it all up again. And I did it. And there were stitches. I found stitches still.
Wow. Wow.
Oh, hey, we can do anything. If people just understand we can do anything, but you've got to get out of your own mind. You don't, you don't live in this mind. You don't live in this brain.
Yeah.
You live outside of yourself, but you've got to have the body to maneuver. And the body has to learn to work with you on the soul, not it and the ego work with against you. Because the
Yeah.
ego it's as evil as it can be, or it can be as loving. Now I've got a big ego. I'm not gonna say I don't. But let me tell you, you make me mad and you hurt children. There's more to that. I mean, because I came out, a man almost was raping me when I was 19 years old in college. And this force came through my body like I've never, I mean, it came up and he had hit me. I mean, he hit me so hard I hit the wall. So he was going to rape me. There was no any way I was going to get out. I already knew there was no way I was going to get out of it. And that's so funny. That's my nephew calling me.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
Synchronicities.
yeah, it is because I'll have to tell me because he doesn't like to interrupt me. But if something's going on, he likes to tell me what's going on. He said, "Give me some insight because I'm pissed. Give me some insight." And so I always throw him back in because everything we get, and this is what your audience, everything that hits us, we get an opportunity to change that immediately by not reacting to it. Take it down to find out what's the lesson for you, or is that the lesson for them? That's one finger pointing, three fingers pointing back. Or do you have the guts to say, that's incorrect? That's not what I'm going to receive. It's all up to you.
Yeah.
Everybody has power. These people say, I don't have any power. I disagree with them. They've given their power away to somebody else.
Yeah.
Everybody has this gift, and these are not gifts either. I get really mad when somebody says, "You've got so many gifts." I have no gifts. I have abilities that was given to me the minute that I took a breath in this area, and I know who I am. And when you know who you are, that's the most powerful thing you could ever have because I know exactly who I am, and I know when the line is drawn, and I'm not walking over it. I don't care. That's why I didn't do a vaccine. That's why I will tell doctors off. I'll tell, and also I'm 75 and I don't give a shit. It's just exactly, you know, and they know I don't give a shit because I've said it to them. So
Wow.
I think this is it to me. I don't know how long, but I've been going into my body and I've been telling my heart and my kidneys because I had a massive heart attack in 1998, but I had another one because I was pissed at my ex-husband because he died, and my sons did not follow what he asked them to do. And it pissed me off. My sons, I lost everything. I don't think people understand. That's why I said it's not a love and light. When I had to leave my house of 30 years, I had a farm, I had horses, I had a pool in the backyard, I had the wealth of the wealth. And I remember the day when my older son was getting ready to hit me because I was under domestic violence. And when he bent down to hit me, he couldn't. And all of a sudden, the entire room just went into slow mo. And God literally said, "You need to leave here now, and I will open the door for you." The back door to the garage opened by itself. There was that door was there. Now, why I say this is because I didn't have, I had already practiced enough. You don't have seconds. You don't have anything but do what you're being told to do then. You don't have time. Let me think about that now.
Yeah.
You don't have time. Everything, and I mean my body, everything just moved to a different movement. The door opened. Now my two sons have heard some of my podcast, and my older son called me up and said, You're a liar, mother. You're a liar. That door never opened. Now I want you to understand. He's exactly right. He never saw that door open because he was in the third form of himself. I was in a different dimension. I was in the higher consciousness. And things like that happen. When you step over that line into the consciousness of who you really are, you have an empowerment, not power, an empowerment of truth and an acknowledgement of who you are. And you're a giant in the universe. And I
Hmm.
know that because I have been.
Mhm.
I remember walking through plasma one in a meditation, and it was like being in a pool of water. And it was, you have a force in water. You don't see the force, but you feel the force. And I thought, wow, and all of a sudden I looked down and I had two puddles on my feet, my feet were in. And all of a sudden a beautiful voice said, that's the oceans, because I was steading in the earth, but I was also in the universe of a giant being of light. We better start waking up here. I'm doing every podcast, Todd, anything to get this out. I don't care anymore because I don't know how long I'm going to check. I've tried to get out too many times and I still keep coming back. So I'm ready to, I'm not ready to leave by any means. And I get mad when people start talking about, I want to leave. You don't want to leave because you want to get every bit of the information you need. When you move into another state, you better have all that information because you're going to be asked, how did you serve me? Because that's exactly what God asked me, or the universal God. I don't say God anymore, I say Holy Spirit. But when you really get that, you know exactly. I knew the first time I had not done well. I knew I hadn't done well. And I asked to go back because I was told, you don't have to come back. You don't have to leave. You can stay here. I said, no, I want to go back to my family. And guess what? I lost my family. You're my family. The people that we work with, that's our family. That's our soul families. And we better start connecting because all they have to do is just put it out there. I want to meet my soul family. You'll start seeing people coming in out of nowhere. I don't know why I know you. I mean, I was in Costco one day and a woman came up to me and said, are you on a podcast? And I said, yes. And she said, are you not that girl? And I said, yes, because that's the first time ever. I mean, my town knows this. They usually don't say anything to me because they think I'm pretty much crazy. So, but to get somebody to say something like that, I went. So we had a long conversation. She said, "You're nice." A lot of people don't think that us that do the podcast that they think that we're celebrities. Well, most of them think we're celebrities, but I'm not a celebrity. I got to poop just like everybody else. So, and I tell people,
Oh my God, this is great. This is fantastic.
well,
Is this what I need? Huh?
well, I've done a lot of work. I've done, the things that I did the American dream, and I got the American dream. But guess what? It was empty. It's not what you think. The lie is the lie. It's a big lie. And when you finally see that one lie, because I'm so curious about this world anyway, when I found out the first lie, because I have a real hard time with lying. And why I know that is because I was a liar.
Mm.
And I had to go down when I came back from my near death experience. That wiped everything. I mean, if even one day I had a whole conversation about uh, when you go into lying, exaggeration, because we don't call that as a lie. And I was having a conversation with my higher self, and it says, an exaggeration is a lie.
Yes.
Simply
Yes. Yeah.
a lie. It's a lie is a lie, a cheat's a cheat. But you look right now, what are they doing? They have programmed us to be correct, to be afraid, but they've also programmed that you got to be correct. You got to be honest. They give you the whole thing, but then they sit right in front of you right now, and they're getting away with murder, literally, and we get to watch it.
Yeah.
This is no different than the Roman circus.
Well, it's the
No
same.
more.
It's the same circus.
It is.
It's the
What
same people.
it's a, well, that's why I said vampires. And also Rome, see, but it goes even further than Rome because I've been down, honey, I've been down to the tunnels. Not, I have not been in the tunnels physically, but I can go any damn where place I want to go. And they know I can go because I took a whole group to DC. And they got people like me sitting in the pathways and everywhere, all the doorways with people like me, so nobody like me can get out, go in. What do you think about that? That's
Yeah.
supernatural. They're supernaturally doing this. This is all supernatural. This is, when people, you better understand also esoterics. These sorcerers. I had a woman who flew in from Dubai. Guess who she wanted to see? Me, the quantum healer from Versailles, Kentucky. You know what she came in here for? It
Hmm.
was not for that. She knew they think we're dumbasses here. That we're from Kentucky or all of these psychics and everything. They come in and they suck you dry. She came over here. I'd already done that esoterics. I had the best teacher. We call that teacher Archangel Michael, Jesus, God, whoever you want to call it, taught me the esoterics. And when she started showing me her esoteric pictures and everything, I already knew. I knew why she was in there. I knew what she was trying to do. She wanted to fly me, wanted me to go to Dubai to be with her group, the Society of the Rose. Know anything about that? I do.
I've heard of it.
Yep. She wanted me. Now, what do you think they wanted me to go there for?
For your energy.
That's it, right. I've had them all in here. I had a shaman that tried to take my light. I had witches. I've had them all. But you know what? When you really have the strength of the Holy Spirit or the force, I don't care what you call it, it's there. And you can trust it and love it and have a relation with, you got to have a relationship with it. Because when I get in the car, the first thing I do when I get in my car is say, divine order, divine timing, divine plan, make it easy. Please protect everything that anybody around me, when I'm saying protection, I'm not talking about protection. Let's put these little crystals. I'm asking the universe through already the protection. It's already there. Just I'm widening it for everybody around me. And I've watched cars go by me, and I even said, that needs to stop. You need to gradually move that back in. And you'll see it happen right in front of you. It's right in front of them, but they don't see because there are two worlds.
Yeah, I agree.
And that one is the illusional world, and then this one.
I agree.
That right now, you and I can feel. We're opening up Mexico. Anything that we literally reflect out, we build better.
Yeah.
And we didn't have to do anything.
Yeah, I had I totally relate to everything you're saying. It's bringing back so many different memories. I go to the Bay. I go to the Bay and meditate or commune. I go into communion at the Bay every night.
With the
And
water.
huh?
With the water. With the
Yes,
water.
yes,
The water there.
yeah. It's a beautiful small bay. I've been going for several months, and over the last few weeks, like I said, the psychic paranormal stuff has really started to go off again, like it was 14 years ago when I first
Yeah.
reawoke and I was walking the streets. And 3 nights, on 3 separate nights, at the end of the communion, this red fireball comes out of the sky right over towards me, and then eventually went back up into the upper horizon. And to your point, there were on the last night, which was the biggest one. Like it came really close. It really wanted to make a point to me. There were people there, but I don't see nobody saw it. See,
No, no,
I
no,
saw
they
it,
won't.
and I saw it, and it
You
was
were supposed to see it. Yeah,
yeah,
you were the
yeah,
only supposed to see that.
yeah,
That is that is a communication between you and the universe.
yeah,
Nobody else can hear that. That's
yeah,
pretty powerful, man.
yeah.
I've
Was it?
had that stuff too.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had fish talk to me, rocks talk to.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah. Oh yeah.
it's a great world.
Absolutely.
But when you saw that come down, a fireball. But let me first of all, what I'm getting from you is why you're where you are. I think your soul has been there.
I know
You've
it
been
has.
there
Yeah, I
as a
know it.
child,
Yeah,
and
when I
I've
got.
seen you as
Yeah.
a
I,
child.
first of all, I came here on what they call the day at a time, in 2024, and I was concerned, how am I going to get across the border? I don't have a passport. And so I got off the airplane. I took a flight to Laredo, which is the border. I got off the plane. There was one cab out in front. I walk up to the guy. I said, I would like to go to the border. He said, which crossing do you want to go to? I said, I don't know. I'm going to go to the airport on the other side. He said, oh, I can take you there. And I said, okay. So we're driving, and I pull my ID out, my driver's license. He goes, what are you doing? I said, well, I'm going to have my license. He says, you don't need that. And people ask me, how did you get across the border? I said, I've just gotten, and I just drove across. Nobody stopped me. Nobody said anything. I went to the airport counter, showed him my ID. Can I buy it?
did the same thing,
Huh?
though.
What?
My ex husband and I, when I was married, we did the same thing. We drove right over,
Yeah.
but we had coming back is
Yeah.
when they got us.
Yeah.
Because we had everything, all the credentials. That's what they do. That
Yeah.
makes, because we even thought about that. I thought, why can we just drive over?
Right.
Well, yeah, because they're going to catch you going out.
Yeah. Well, maybe that's maybe, but and going back to what you said, I get over here. This is now the third bay I've lived on, and the first time I go out, I start seeing the Spanish galleons in the bay,
Oh,
and
so
I
you've
start
seen
to remember the whole thing. And so I spent weeks and weeks on the bay bringing peace to that timeline. The Spaniards and the indigenous, and it just continued. So yeah, I do believe that. Yeah, I've walked here before. There's no question.
Well, that's why you, but what I'm saying is, I'm not trying to, I want people to understand. You walk through because your higher self knew we could get you in.
Yeah,
They had to get you in. And you didn't even know how you were going to get in, but you got in.
yeah,
But that's where it took you. But you got to see where every place you went, you dropped off probably more light and energy, but also you brought in particles of your own soul to get stronger. This is why you're getting stronger,
yeah,
is you and I, you're going back to memory that you had probably scattered a
yeah,
lot of soul. So
yeah.
now it's coming in. Now the thing is that I can't wait for you to do is how you going to get out.
Well, we'll see. I mean, I woke up this morning thinking it's time to go, and I don't know if that's a rash thought, but something's cooking. I can feel it. Huh?
Well, you're right. But you know the feeling. See, this is good for your
Yeah.
audience to know how
Mm,
we work.
yeah.
When we get ego words or thoughts, they're different when you get intuitive hits or spiritual hits. We've got to learn to teach people to which one to really recognize, because
Yeah.
all they have to do is recognize the spirit, and everything else will be perfect.
Yeah.
Even though some people might not like the way it worked, but it's still that's their job, is to go through all of that. That's what I'm saying is, this is going to be good because you need to get in a really deep meditation. This is the spirit teaching you how to
Yep.
get through those lines and because I've done it. You need to go invisible.
Yeah.
And I've been invisible several times. I had a man who drove all the way from Chicago just to see if I could do it, and I did it, and he went, "Holy shit, you really can."
Yeah. No,
We all can.
I feel that this morning. I feel this, like I haven't, and the crazy thing about what I was telling you at the beginning before he knocked on the door, this something happened on June the 1st, and my life changed,
You
and it
mean
was
June the 24th,
no June
20,
no, this was
June,
June the 1st of 2024. Yeah.
okay, 2024.
I'm sorry, wait. June the 21st of 2025. Okay. My
Okay.
wife had to leave. And now I'm sitting here by myself thinking I was going to live here all happily ever after and do my work and be with the woman I love. And do you know that it was 14 years, almost to the hour, of when everything happened in 2011 for me?
Wow.
I
So this is
came,
a repeat.
yes. And so the intel started coming through showing me these patterns of 14 years, pattern of 11 years, pattern of 7 years, 4 years, and 2 years, and was
Yeah, but
showing.
that 14 though is a 5.
Yeah.
That's change. So
Okay.
what it was doing is getting ready to change.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter the timing because we both know there's no time.
Right.
It's the change that you're
So.
getting ready. But it's a vibrational change.
Right.
That's a whole different ballgame.
Is it? Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it feels right. And like talking to you this morning, I know this is not a mistake because I
Oh
know
no,
I can feel that I'm going to go deeper than I've ever gone before. And it feels a lot like when I went on the streets 14 years ago because I was in a constant communion, and I pretty much am now. But
you had to
yeah.
because you had to survive. But something was with you. That force was walking with you all the
Yeah.
time. That's what it did to me. I mean, I've gone in bad areas at 3 or 4 in the morning with a nice big car and terrified, and my higher self said, they won't see you. Believe. And it's not believe. I walked right by everybody. They
Yeah.
couldn't see me at all. That's why I said, see, that gives me coat chills. You should be feeling that, man. You
Yeah.
feel that?
Oh, I've been
Now,
feeling it. Yeah.
but I want you to take it in because I know you feel it, but I want you to go like this. And I want you to push it all the way through your body, all the way through the back of you, because you got to lift out all of the past through that energy. Then you expand it outwards to the sides. Then you go like this, go it all. And then you'll see that you've been in a bubble of plasma, and all you have to do is clear it.
Yeah, and you know, it's really interesting what you're talking about because, and I've talked about it a little bit on the shows, but I just spend my time, you know, talking to my partner or doing the shows or maybe a little bit of work, or I sit at the beach. That's it. And so I'll get off of the last show and I'll start walking through this town. It's not westernized. It's not commercialized. It's just a bunch of original, authentic buildings and people, families. I've never seen an argument. I've never seen a broken bottle in the streets.
So do you see light in their eyes then? Do you see light?
I see light. I see light. I'm walking down, and I'll even have like something on my mind. Say I'll be like thinking about something, and then my soul will come in and say, "Hello, look around, look."
Yeah, you're not paying
Yeah, like and little kids will run up to me. The dogs in the streets will run up to me. I met 2 horses over here. We've had conversations, which I've never had before with a horse. Cats. No, I've never had. No, I had. I was walking by because there's a corral over here or whatever you call it, and
I'll
it
go and
stopped.
talk to the horses, honey. I'm an animal
Oh,
communicator.
I know you
start.
are. I'm not.
So
I've never had it happen to me. I've never had it happen to me.
no, because now you're
Yeah,
opening up all languages.
yeah,
See, that's
yeah,
language.
yeah,
That's a language.
yeah,
Go over there and talk to those horses will tell you more what's going on in that town than anything. And a dog or going back, if one starts walking to you, that's one of yours that is spiritually allowed that's
yeah,
going with you.
yeah.
I mean, this is a big deal.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, and
It,
it's crazy because I've never really had pets, and I actually was house sitting, and there was 2 cats, one male, one female, and on June the 1st is when all that happened, and you know that for the next 2 days those cats talked to me and told me everything.
you
It
got
was,
you got a download. That's a download.
yeah, it was a
You
download. Yeah,
That's a download, honey. I mean,
yeah,
I've been in the laundry room doing the dryer, picking up the dryer, and all of a sudden I go like this. One day I thought, oh my God, they're going to pull me out of my body. I thought
yeah.
they were trying to take my soul. And
Wow,
I held down real fast and I said, no, I'm not ready to go yet.
yeah.
But
Well,
it's a gem inside. It's a
now,
universe itself.
so let me ask you this. Because I have my own thoughts. I don't agree with everything out in the let's just say in these types of platforms or whatever. So is this really a time? Is this really a time, a prophetic time, or is that all a bunch of propaganda, and it's the same cycle over and over of
I think it's the I think it's recycled. I think a lot of
Yeah.
this is no, it's a psyop. Don't you even feel it anymore? How they're trying to make confusion. It's always confusion or
Yeah.
opposite of what it was. This one did this. This one did this. And I sat one day, and my higher self said, "You need to get out of the chatter. Bring it in." So I do everything in here. Now, if I feel anger, I watch it a lot. I do watch it because I want to feel how I'm feeling inside. Where
Right.
is that? Because some of the things that they're hitting areas of my heart that I needed to address.
Right.
Or now I'm working in my liver because I was so damn angry with the church and what was going on. So I'm having to confront those anger moments, but that I'm allowing to go on and experience them because we try to not experience. You got to feel it. You
Yeah.
got to go through it because people say, "Well, I've been healed." No, I said, "Have you gone through your body?" Because the body's the first thing that's got to heal. It's the vessel that's carrying you,
Yeah.
and if it's sick, it's going to make everybody else sick.
What do you think about what do you think about this whole narrative of galactic federation and all that stuff? To me, everything that's external is external. It, you know what I mean? It
I
just
think it's.
huh?
I don't. See, I'm a flat earther. I mean, I've already gone to the earth. I already know. I worked with the earth. One day she came, I mean, after I had my near death experience, I laid with her. You know what she said to me? She said, "All I need you to do is love me."
Yeah.
She's not talking about, she's talking about spiritual love,
Yeah.
true connection. And she said, "I'll take care of the rest of it." Because she doesn't have to be recycled. That's all bullshit. That's to keep us programmed that we think that we have we are great creators, but they want us to create what they want us to
Right.
create.
Right. Because they
What
can't.
I, yeah, they can't, well, we are the ones. All they have to do is put it out there, and then you get everybody to run right in there, and
Yeah.
they all take the energy, and they build exactly what they want. That's why we got to stop.
Yeah.
We've got to start going in and really being personally accountable because you're going to find out some of the shit you've done
Yeah.
you can't imagine.
Oh, I've been there.
I know
And
you
I mean,
I
that's
like
but
but
it's
that's
like, but I mean, I'm just saying, it's like okay, I was in, I was in communion. It was either, I think it was last night, the night before last, and I went through some things that I do, and then I got to this point where I took responsibility for the entire world. Like I have the power to affect it all. It can
hmm
go the right way. I don't know.
hmm
And it seems like this type of thought is coming back in 14 years later. And I
yeah,
don't think I'm
you
the
do.
only one. I think there seems to be more and more people that are really going within themselves, and I think starting with personal responsibility and personal accountability.
Yeah, you had to,
Yeah.
and also we were sidetracked. We've been sidetracked. Even spiritual beings like us have been sidetracked.
Yeah.
And when I realized that I've been sidetracked, that's when I started going backwards and tracking back to see where it started. It started way, way back then from the American dream. See, I had to go all the way back. Why did I think you're not a damn American?
That's
If
right.
you leave over there, you're not American, you're not a Mexican, you're not a nothing. And but look how we've been labeled. It was the labels. And my higher self took me all the way back to my mother's womb. And I heard everything that she was upset because I was her set. They told her if I miscarried, because I would have been the seventh miscarriage for her, she was not to have another baby because it could kill her. So my mother's got holding this baby. Now I hated this woman all my, not hate her, but as a teenager and everything, she was control freak, and I was an only child. She was scared all the time, so she was always, and she made me mad all the time. I mean, I went against her to get married because she didn't like him. I did it. You'll find out. So I went down there, and I was realizing my mother was holding her womb, me in her womb, with her hands. Her, her the the hand of God, uh, and she was holding on to me so much. So she loved me so much. And I hated her the minute I came to the wood. I hated her. And I thought, oh my God. But that is from coming from the inner self into the world of man. Is that exactly what you walk into? The darkness. You're in Satan's playground right here.
Mm-hmm.
But how you learn to do is you learn how to maneuver it
Yeah.
just by what we're doing now. But you got to go deep
Yeah.
to find out what every one of those weeds you've got to clean the garden, honey, and the garden is out here,
Mm.
but it's dark down here. And I was trained. I was literally trained. I was trained to go into my being self, and I had to go in and see. I mean, I remember a being, and I can't say Jesus, God, what it was there, and said, "Look at that mess over there." And my garden was ripped to pieces. It'd been shit on, it'd been peed on. It was absolutely, and I thought, oh my God. I said, you got to fix that up in there. And there was a gate, which there is a guard at the gate. That gate opened up and said, get on it. Start digging your way out of this.
Yeah. That's how it works.
It's so cool.
I was thinking that today. You're going to make me start crying again, but
Too. Tears are the
it,
moisture of the soul.
yeah.
Do you know that?
Uh,
Tears are
yeah.
a reaction.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
It's
more people should be crying. Well, that was one of my rules. I had to learn how to belly laugh and I had to learn how to cry. I did
yeah.
not know how to do either
Yeah.
because we've been programmed not to.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, if you can
That's fun.
feel,
That's interesting. 14 years ago, part of going on the street is I learned how to laugh again, belly laugh, and I've always been a very happy, kind of go lucky guy. But that 8 or 10 year run before that time happened, it became very stressful. You know, it was extremely stressful financially, mentally, emotionally. I was holding a household together. My wife was very ill; she would end up dying. But I was thinking
you
about this. I was thinking about this today. I was thinking about this today as I walked up to the market, and it took me back 14 years ago, and I remember going because the words that you said about the garden, you dig your way out, and I remember, God, I feel just like I did 14 years ago, and 14 years ago it was like every step I take is a step in faith. Like I wasn't
yes,
looking any further than just the next step,
hang in the
and
now the moment.
and it
Hang in
felt
the
like
now.
it felt like that today. It felt like that today. And I
Well,
just want to go. I just want to go back to one thing that you said because I want to make sure because I've mentioned this, but for you to mention it, I just want people to hear what you said. You know, when I walk through the town and I hear the voice tell me, "This is you. You created this. This are your little kids running through the street with no shoes on. Like where do you see that? Uh, you know, I mean, it's just everywhere I look. There's simplicity and love, and it's just crazy. And then, but it kept coming back in night after night. It would tell me, you've created this. You know, like, and that's kind of what you're talking. It is what you're talking about. Our field is huge. It's really huge.
Yeah,
It's
but we've
real.
been so programmed to think this.
Yeah.
Oh my God. First time I ever really recognized myself was when I expanded and became particles.
Wow.
Because that's endless. That goes on. I am so glad I can say this to you and your audience because I got tired after a while because I got tired of being held back. See, I'm not going to be held back anymore because this really happened to me. I've had people that said such nasty things. What are you, crazy? They have no idea.
Yeah.
They have no. I used to cry about it. It used to hurt me.
Yeah.
I understood. I got a moment to be with Jesus Christ, and I was on the crucifix with Him. And I mean, it was one, but both at the same time. And I'm looking down, and it's me that is gambling with my own clothes. And I'm looking down and I'm looking at him, and he finally looks at me and said, "Forgive yourself, for you don't know what you do." And immediately I realized I was so stupid. I was killing myself. I was crucifying myself.
Right. Right.
And so as I was laying up, he looked at me. He said, "Let's jump off of this cross." And we did. We jumped. We literally jumped out like light together. And he said, "Turn around." And we turned around. He said, "Live that flesh upon the cross
Hmm.
and walk with me." And he did. We walked through the narrow road, the
Yeah.
golden narrow road. That's what I'm saying. These things really do happen for people like us. But until these people take their blinders off, stop being afraid to say something going against somebody, or just find out what's going on inside and really tap into that. Because I used to do this 16 and 17, 18 hours a day. And I'm so grateful that I'm just grateful because Todd, there's a lot of people that will never ever see this,
Mm.
but they'll get a chance to come back,
Yeah.
or they'll go somewhere. We, our bodies, they go to earth, but our souls are eternal.
Yeah. That's
You can
right.
choose to stay up there because there's school there. Because I mean, I've been in a school. I taught a school song. That's why I knew some of the people that I knew. Socrates, he came
Mm.
to me. Plato, and I taught that in sixth grade. And I remember I would be teaching, and all of a sudden there would be a voice that would come and says, "That's not how it was." Okay. Now I wasn't awake. Okay. I thought, "What do you mean? Did I learn that in a book?" Yeah. When we would do religion classes, my students would say, you know, and my name was different. You know, when you start talking about Jesus, you change. Your voice changes. Well, yeah, I remember one time being in my body, and we were in religion, and the kids, I could see the kids and everything, but I kept thinking, why am I pushed way up in the back of my back? Why? And there was somebody in front, and they were talking. And I remember Jesus turned around and said, "Would you be quiet? I'm talking." And I'm in here. There's a part of me is going, "What the hell?" I mean, I remember walking back and sitting there and said, "Did that really happen?" Because you can't imagine that really happening. So you just dismiss it.
Yeah.
I had so many opportunities to see, but because of the programming and the tight view that you get, you will never see it until you really take the blinders off. And I mean, you got to push them way back. And you're going to think, this is crazy. How is it that my arms and my legs are all of a sudden they're not there?
Mm-hmm.
You know, you go through as you got to really go through the different layers and levels, but you don't wish yourself out.
Yeah. Yeah. That's important. Uh, and again, going back 14 years ago on the streets those 2 years, I had my moments, but and it's interesting because a few weeks ago, I think it was right after right before the solstice, right in mid-December. I just turned 64, December 9th, and a few days go by, and I don't know. I got down. I don't know what happened, and I actually said that. I said, you know what? I'm ready to go. And
That's
but do you know
no,
what
that's
happened? Do you know what happened?
64. Oh, wait a minute.
Go ahead.
64 is 10 makes
Yeah.
one.
Right.
That's why you had that shift
Yeah.
because there's a moment of just total. It's because you're getting ready to get a download.
Yeah. Well, I think that's what's happening because. But anyway, what happened that day? It's really funny. That's
You know
really
what?
funny. I heard. So I said, and I said it emphatically. I said, I am ready to go, and I heard audibly be
Hmm.
careful what you're saying. Like
Yes.
it said, be careful what you're saying. I went, ooh. And then from that point on, I had a greater sensitivity with my body. Like everything I would taste, everything I would do was becoming more magnified. I'm like, whoa. Like,
Activation.
yeah. Huh?
That's activation. That's
Yeah.
called an activation. You've
Yeah.
been activated because the last thing that usually goes is the sensitivity to the body to
Yeah.
feed the everything. I mean, when I first woke up and I was so aware of everything, the dust in the corners, even.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, when somebody lint or things that you would not ever, just space in general because that's making you now realize you're a part of all of that and now you can feel every bit of it in there. It's amazing.
Yeah, and that's interesting too. God, you're making me think of all these things and this has all been the last few weeks. Okay, I've started having, and I've done stuff like this before, but something's different. I've been having conversations with my organs,
Oh
with
yes.
my bloodstream. I've been getting and I've been getting information. I guess it would be memory locations within my body corresponding to star systems,
Yeah,
constellations.
yeah,
I mean,
because
there's something's going on here recently. Something
now
big is going on.
it's big in you times because what it is you've been activated.
Yeah,
You all the time you have walked over that fine line, and Jeremy and I've talked about this a lot because there's a very fine line. And when you cross over that line, that means, well, first of all, when you listen to yourself inside of yourself, that means you then had a true relationship with your soul or your higher self. Okay. You have to have that relationship or you'll dismiss it.
yeah,
So what you've done is you've tuned into it and now you've recognized it and now you have the relationship with it. So now it's showing you through your body what you feel all the time.
yeah. It's crazy.
That's why, well, I
And
mean,
is
I'm
it? I mean,
shocked.
but it has to be. This has to be more than me, though. Is there any credibility to the concept or the what's being put out there in terms of a collective awakening? Do you feel?
No,
Okay.
but what we're talking about is the Bible. You have to go through first individually because that is your journey. You
Right.
came in here with your soul is the rule here.
Right.
Okay, it has nothing to do with your flesh or the ego in you. Your
Right.
soul is working itself to get through this.
Right.
So what it does is I don't know how it's going to be, but then we all meet. Haven't you ever? I mean, how many times have I met a person in a room that I immediately didn't like them? Immediately. Well, then I never understood that until one day I was in a deep meditation and said, that's someone who you probably killed or that they killed you.
Yeah.
I used to stand up on stage and say, and there would be a good group there, 300 or 400 people. I'm so glad you all came over because I'm sure I probably killed most of you in this room. And they would go, because it's the truth.
Yeah. That's a big part for me. Being open to everything,
Yes.
accepting and loving
No judgment.
everything. It's really interesting. The other day, I do what you do. I go and look at stuff, not because I'm hooked to it, but I just want to see what's going on. In fact, I just got kicked off of X, so I probably won't be doing it anymore. But they had all this stuff about Epstein. So I had just recently cut all my hair off, right? And it's been a few weeks, and I had just trimmed my beard, and I go into the bathroom, and I look in the mirror, and I'm not trying to do anything. I just brushing my teeth or washing my face or whatever, and I look in the mirror and I see the face of Jeffrey Epstein, and
Oh, yeah.
it was a message to me. It was a
Now
message,
that's mirror work.
huh?
That's mirror. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Best thing you can do is, nope, that is something in your aura.
yeah,
It's there.
yeah.
Now, because yeah, you've never done mirror work?
Oh,
Oh my God.
I've done mirror work. I've done a lot of
But
mirror work. Yeah.
all of the things that go by you, even birds or, I mean, dinosaurs. That's how I knew I was a
I
dragon
haven't
because,
seen. I haven't had that kind of. I've
oh
had.
my God, you got to do that
I had
because,
one. I had one in the old studio. In the old studio where I met you, I had these floor to ceiling mirrors on one wall. So one night I'm standing about 10 feet away from it, and I was told, "Look in the mirror." And I look in the mirror. I walked up to the mirror, and my image turned into an ogre. It
yes,
turned into an ogre and basically said to me, you know, like, "Are you scared?" And I said, "I am soul." And they said, "Are you sure?" And I said, "I am soul." And that, do you know that that thing shrunk and kind of like
uh-huh.
put his head down, like, you know, forlorn, and just kind of walked away? Yeah, it was.
But let
Uh,
me tell you, this is what's even funnier about that. Yes, you're going to go through those mirrors and you're going to see them, but guess what? You created that troll
yeah. All
or
right.
whatever. You created it
Yeah.
and brought, then it came forward to make you see you're putting trash in your garden.
Yeah.
You didn't even know it was there.
Mm,
So that's what I learned. I would go in there and I would see this going through. And I remember when I first time I really saw I saw some really bad things in the mirror. It would take my, I would, and it would say, hold it, you know, because what you're doing is you're recognizing it, your accountability to it. It was there. Then it goes real fast. Boom, 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 boom. Because think of how many times
yeah.
you have made these thoughts through your mind
Yeah.
and they're coming in because they are of imagery. That's what the Bible says. You know, false imagery.
Right.
That's right there. I mean, I see. I'm a Bible kind of girl
Yeah.
because the Bible talks to me because it doesn't talk to me though. It comes up out of the daggone words and comes right up and looks at me and says, "Now look at this or look at that." I mean, we are so blessed. See, you and it's not because you've got a guardian angel. Nothing, I don't want to make everybody mad. You are the angel.
Yeah.
You are the source. You're every bit of it. And you beamed in and now you're taking personal responsibility to be here as the creator, not as the one that has been tainted our body. Oh my God, look what they've done.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
This is.
hard for it's hard because we're in a war and most people don't even realize that they're in a war, that they've been in a war for a long time. We've been in this war for a long, long time.
But it's in here, isn't it?
Yep.
That's where it is.
And you gotta stop the war inside before you can stop it on the outside.
Yeah.
Anything that's going on in here and you haven't registered it or thought about it,
Yeah.
it's going to come right outside to you because it's going to look at me. I'm right here. Look at me. You know,
Yeah.
and I thought, I've learned, welcome it in. Jesus Christ gave me that. I was sitting in a room, like in a cabin, and there was a little table and there was lights, but they were like candle lights. And we were just having just a connection. And all of a sudden there was somebody taking the windows going bang, 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 bang. And I just went into fear and I was looking at him like, hey buddy, I mean, you're the man. What are you gonna do? And he was just sitting there. You need to go to that door. And I thought, I'm not going to that door. I said, you're the man. You do it. He said, you need to go to the door. I know what's over the door. You're the one that's having the problem. Go to the door. And I remember inside of me feeling shaking that whatever that is. And as I'm going to it, he turned around and he said, all you're doing, and I mean, you can feel this, Todd, feel it. Push, he said, that's what you're doing all the time. You're pushing everything like that and holding it and holding it, holding it. He said, you know how that feels? And I'm trying to get into this door now. I'm holding on. He said, why don't you just drop it down and welcome it in? Feel the difference? This is all we do. But when you welcome, and I remember opening the door and it was me. Light.
Exactly.
And that's
Exactly.
not and that's why it says knock and the door shall be answered to you.
Yeah.
You've got to knock on the damn door before the door can be answered. But everybody sit up there, I don't know what's out there. I just don't think I can. Oh my God, I don't think I can do that.
it's everything is speaking to us. It's us speaking to ourselves, right? Like I
Bingo.
don't know if you remember. I don't know if you remember how my story started, but and this is interesting too because the consciousness of Jesus is coming back,
That's what they
and
mean.
it's
Yeah.
well, it came, it was always with me, like Mother Mary, because that's just the way I associated with it. But so 14 years ago, I'm at the end of my rope, and I'm in the backyard, in my courtyard, and I'm teaching myself how to dance through the shadow cast on the fence. And on the other side of the fence, there's a big cemetery.
Shadow work. You were looking at
Yeah,
your own
yeah.
shadow.
I didn't realize this until you just said that. So I'm doing that, and it's 1:11 in the morning, and my wife at the time, the one that passed, she sends me a note, and it had been the worst 8 days I've ever seen. She was diagnosed schizophrenic. All right, so I'll just leave it at that.
Oh my
So anyway,
gosh.
she sends me a note, and I remember the time because she sent me the note. She said, "Are you coming to bed?" And it was 1:11 in the morning. So I look up in this over across the fence, and there's all these big trees, and I see this fireball coming through.
Another.
Yeah, right, coming through the from the sky. It looked like it was very white, and then it formed the face of Christ, of the cosmic Christ, and he talked to me, and it reminds me of the conversation you had in this cabin because it was very funny. He says to me, "What are you so worried about?" And he kind of has a grin on his face, and I'm looking at him, wondering why I'm not startled out of my mind, and I said, "What are you talking about, man? I mean, I've been." I've got all this, he don't have to tell him, right? And he says, I don't know what you're worried about. I've been watching over your family for 2 years and 8 months. And I said, 2 years and 8 months, that's when she tried to kill herself. She took a bottle of Tylenol PMs and died in my arms and came back, right? And then I got this wave of like, like you get in out of body, right? Near death. And it was just peace and grace and love. I'm like, wow. And I look back up and he's laughing harder. And I said, "What's up with that?" He said, like in other words, he was laughing like a parent would laugh at a child that's taking something too serious. And and I said, "Well, what's up with that?" He goes, "Well, you're the one of the unshakable faith, and now we're going to find out. Tomorrow, your world's going to turn upside down." And so the next thing you know, next thing
Wow.
you know, she had a psychotic episode that morning. The cops, it had been happening more frequently, and the cops came over. It had been like, say, 6 times in 2 months or something. So there was a bunch of them there. I'm sitting on the couch in a pair of blue jeans, no shirt, no shoes. There's 2 or 3 cops around me. There's 2 or 3 with her in the kitchen, and they knew me, because they knew the situation, right? So so one of them said to me, "Well, what you got to do something." And I said, "Look, man, I've done everything I could." And this little Napoleon-esque sergeant walks in and he says, "Well, you haven't done enough." And I stood up on my feet and I looked him right in the eye. I said, "Fuck you," because I know what I've done for love. And then everything changed. But I've noticed recently that consciousness, which was introduced to me as my, I guess, soul father, cosmic father, something like that, has been coming back very recently. So I don't know what that's about.
Well, you'll have a lot of voices because, like I said, I had all these other voices, but I lived in these voices. I mean, everybody would be gone. After my near death experience, I quit my job. I retired at the age of 50. Best thing, I mean, everything was perfect. I mean, I was alone. So I was having profound
Yeah.
experiences. I mean, things were coming into the house, and I remember these things that were really bad looking things. I mean, they smelled and everything, and I could hear them in my bedroom because I was in the bathroom in the mirror because I was got into the mirror shit. And I thought, I mean, I was in it. I mean, things would come out of the mirror and it would and almost knock me backwards. I mean, it was wild. I mean, and I was in school having a grand time, and not doing anything, but doing exactly everything was coming into me. And so I heard these things, and I remember I was sitting in a mirror. I just pulled my mirror. It was a full length mirror, and I had my back to them, but I could see them in the reflection of the mirror. And they were talking. They said, "Is she gonna go with us? Do you think she'll go with us?" And they were like bigger than anything. They were bigger than the bed, but they're really just horrible looking things.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they said, "Will she will you think she'll come with us?" And I'm listening to this, and all of a sudden this finger went yanum, and I heard it. I opened it, I went to the ground, and Mother Earth went sucked it. And this was a laser. And I
Mm.
turned around and went zap, 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 zap.
Mm.
And I thought, oh wow. So did I do that through the mind? Yes. But obviously it had to be done
Yeah.
to clear it out.
Yeah.
This is what I'm saying. We're into so many dimensions, and people think we're crazy. That's not crazy at all. I
No,
have
it's not
ghosts.
crazy. It's not crazy. When I was
No,
on, it's not. When I was on the streets, and I didn't understand this for a long time. I didn't understand that face in the trees was me. You know,
oh
you know
yes.
what I mean. So I was on the streets, and it was rough. I mean, and I would always say I was holding the devils with one hand and angels with the other because I was,
You
I was doing
honey,
it. So
you
anyway, so what happened was I had this experience right when I went on the streets, and it was what I call 1,000 nights in hell. And
wow.
I was in another dimension. I was at the bottom of a well, and every night, and I couldn't get out, and all my guides, which is me, I realized later, Archangel Michael and all these prophets were at the top of the well looking at me, and I'm like, what the fuck, dude? But every
Tell you,
night, the devil would come out with three minions, and they would sodomize me, they would torture me, so on and so on, and it went on for 1,000 nights, and then one night, I realized, I said to them, which was me, which was something in me, and I said to them, "You can't fucking kill me." Right? You
because
can't
you're
fucking
gonna
kill me. You can't fucking kill me, dude.
die.
So you know what? Enjoy. Eat your heart out. I'm a great piece of ass. Whatever I said to him, smart ass, whatever. Right? And I climbed out.
Yeah,
And
because
that was all
you
me,
will.
though. That was me. That dimensional incarnation or experience was me. That's the
Yes.
point.
Well, your soul set it up to get you out of your flesh.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it was. Because you couldn't climb out of it. Only way you could is through your mind and through the imagery of what you wanted out to
Yeah.
do. That's what I'm saying. As long as you've got a flesh, you better learn how to dance with it.
Yeah.
Because it'll fuck you every time it can. And it doesn't mean to do that, but you've already set it up. I mean, you came in. I remember my body one day just said to me, I carry everything you want to know. And I
Yeah.
thought,
Yes.
yeah. And I just went, okay. And I said, and then I just dove into my body and said, start telling me everything you need to know. And it got mad because it said, well, no, wait a minute. I could feel it going, no, no. I said, you never thought it'd come back? Here I'm fighting with myself. You wouldn't think I'd come back. Well, I'm coming back. I want to know what the truth is. And then, I used to be an eagle that would be sitting up on the top of my head, waiting for anything inside of my body that moved. And I would choom, and then I would take it in. I go, gotcha. Tell me exactly what the time. What? Yeah, you brought it up. And it would go, but I don't. And I thought, this is really insane. Think about your wife. She was going through that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That was
Nobody
that.
help her.
Yeah. And
Nobody.
that. Huh? Yeah.
No, she.
That's exactly right. See, that's where I learned it. I learned it living with her.
Yeah,
I
because
learned it.
psychiatrists
Yeah.
do that.
Because
Psychiatrists.
I see, and we live next door to a cemetery. You talk about walking old footsteps, right? So this whole bayou, I was on
Going
homeless.
down
When I was homeless, I basically lived around this bayou wherever I slept, right? It runs all through Houston. It's called Buffalo Bayou. And so we lived next door to a cemetery. So there was a lot of spirits. Now, my wife was very sensitive.
Did you
And when
know
it,
that then?
huh?
Did you know that then? Did you understand that then? When she would have it, did you
I,
know
I,
that?
under, I, what I saw was that she had a sight to the other side. I wasn't able to tune in quite yet. And then about 2 years before everything happened, I started picking up on it. I started having things happen. But it wasn't until everything flipped upside down. And in about God, this is so weird. It's the same time period again. Okay.
Okay.
I had 2 years. It was 2 years, and the first 7 months was the first phase of the spirit walk. That just ended 14 years ago, and it's just ended now. And so what happened was I started walking the streets, and for 7 months, I mean, I'm just like this. Every day I'm having these divine episodes, and so what happened was she came back into town after 7 months, and she said, "I want to see you." And now that was my program, right? Like I had liberated myself or whatever, and she wasn't well. I knew that, and so anyway. I went on I was staying renting a room at a friend's house and cooking for him for a week or something. And I went out into the streets, and I went to a business complex, and I found some cigarette butts, and I smoked them. and I walked back and I was thinking about this, right? And I walked back to the house, and I went up to my room, and I sat on the bed. And there was a warm glass and a big tumbler of tea that I'd made for dinner, and it was warm. It was lukewarm. And I put my hands together, and I said, "Can I trust this path?" Meaning, do I jump back into this and get my kids back and my wife back, and and the glass shattered. Boom.
Oh,
And I mean, I've got glass and tea all over me, and I'm going, holy shit. And then the Archangel Michael part of me came in and said, "I've been trying to tell you. Do you remember when the picture flew off the wall? Do you remember when the chandelier things came together? Do you remember when that fucking tree fell and missed
yeah,
your house by this much, and the curtains flew in? That was us trying to talk to you."
yeah, oh yeah.
And
I got the same thing. I got that too. I got it too. What in the hell did you need to? We told you everything. I mean, I had glimpses all my life.
yeah, yeah,
You know, I mean, in car accidents, and
yeah,
you go into, you're in a slow mo, and all of a sudden you feel everything and go on everything. It's wild as, people just. This is what a lot of times with clients I say, "Have you ever been in a car accident, a bad car accident?
yeah,
And did you ever go through a slow, did you feel the slowness?" And they go, "Yeah." And I said, "That's a spiritual world. You just got in it."
yeah.
And it is. But that's what we should be in 20. Well, there shouldn't be a 24. There
Right,
shouldn't be no time.
right,
It's
right,
eternal.
right.
That's
That,
what they've done is they've isolated us into this. And when everybody's going to say, "Who's they?" Us.
yeah, that's right.
Us.
That's right.
We're the worst, the evil that's doing it until we recognize we're the ones that are doing it.
Yeah, that's right. Until you say, "Hey, I've had enough of this shit," which
That's exactly.
I think is what's happening with this whole, everything coming out and being exposed. And again, these times were written about. Is it a propaganda? Is it a psyops? Whatever. But the point is, it's gonna come out and look you in the face until we accept it as part of our creation and experience. It's the truth. I mean, there's narratives that say there's negative aliens, and there's the death. Yeah, this all us. You're me, you or me.
That's it.
And when I
And
can look,
it just,
when I this past few years, I was estranged from my family. I was blessed enough to I'll tell you what happened. I was having a soulogy fest in Arkansas, and the night before it's going to start, and we've been up on the mountain, beautiful mountain, 6,000 elevation. We've been on the property for like 3 or 4 nights, but the next day it's going to start. 11:30 at night, I go to pick up my friend, who's a blessed friend, from the airport. Last exit, I get pulled over. I end up going to jail for a warrant for a misdemeanor because I pissed off a cop 7 years earlier who broke into my house, and it's a long story. But there was remnants from before I left Houston. So I go to jail. They brought 2 bounty hunters in for a misdemeanor, which got dismissed because the judge said this is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen, but it was because this cop wanted to give me hell, right? So I ended up spending 7 nights on the floor in Arkansas. I'm 2 bounty hunters pick me up. They put me in handcuffs. I look like a praying mantis. They put this belt around you. Your ankles are, and they're like, if you need to go to the restroom, we'll just walk you out. I'm like, I'm not going to the fucking restroom, dude. You know, I don't want anything. I just want to get to the Houston, right? And you know what the crazy thing is, too? When I got to Houston, they put us in this large, it looked like a large business lobby. There was 1,400 people. They were so backed up, they didn't even have jail cells. And I sit down, and there's a TV on. And the TV is showing film of the room that I'm in. And they're talking about how the system's messed up and they've never allowed cameras in here and it's overcrowded and they're changing the policy now because what they were doing is they were just picking up the drug addicts and the prostitutes. They were just recycling people for the money. And while I was there, you know who came in to the room? Jesus. I hadn't seen him in a while. He came in and he says to me, you see that person over there? The one that's all loud and everything? People would call her crazy. She's not crazy, okay? You see that guy over there? And then he said, what you're witnessing here is the deconstruction of the penal system. And this is part of the reason that you've arrived to this point, something like that. God, talking to you is like bringing back all this memory, But I guess that's because of our connection, because that's a real thing, That's a real thing.
But the thing, too, is you've got to go back. This is why I had my companies called revisions, to review it again. You're reviewing from a different set of eyes. In a state of mind, you're now seeing where you missed some of the things that were right there in plain sight, and you go, "Wow, that's why this had to happen because of this happened." Because you see the connections, and then you see how you can change that connection simply by changing your mind. That's the quantum.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And I got off on that tangent, but what ended up happening was, my mother. It's always funny talking to people on these shows over the years, and they, love and lie to everything, but not my mother. My mother's different than everybody else's, right? But I was at peace with her. I just hadn't reunited with her, and as a result of being sent to Houston, I ended up missing the festival. I ended up renting my daughter's empty apartment, which was 1 block from my grandmother's house, right next to the bayou, and here we go again, right? And so I ended up on Mother's Day calling my mother or texting my mother and said, it'd been 8 years, 6 years. 6 years. And I said, I'd love to take you to lunch. My point is, I've been able to make peace and with my mother and my father. And my father, from society's perspective, I guess it's okay to say this, violated in the worst way one of my children. Okay? But and I went to see him 3 or 4 times. And the last time I went to go see him, I made up my mind that I was going to confront him and let him know that I knew about this. And when I got there, he was in his chair, 88 years old, just had a stroke. And I didn't have to do it because I understood it, I understood it. And I guess what I'm saying is that's a blessing to be able to discuss this with you and for these memories to come back. But I know that by the world's definition, I've been a victim, but I've been a perpetrator too. Mm-hmm. I've been it all. Because how could you be omniscient if you haven't been it all?
And if
Okay.
you couldn't recognize it, you would never did it.
Yeah.
You should not be able to recognize evil at all if you've never experienced evil or
Yeah.
done it.
That's right.
See, it's all mirrors. It's all making you realize who you really are.
Yeah.
You fell here, and I fell from the stars. And I don't care what anybody. I fell from the stars. I was a star, and I'm going to say this over and over. People say, "Oh, that's no." I made the decision. I
Yeah.
it was almost like it felt like a light bulb, and I screwed myself off, and I said I want to fall down there, and I did. Not next. I think about 2 or 3 weeks later, their movie came in called Stardust, where a woman came in from a star and came to Earth.
Yeah.
And these are what I was giving insight all the time. A radio, a song, a word. I was being directed all the time, but also I was being really approached with evil all the time.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Oh my, you're right, because I got it. I was in the 70s. I mean, almost 3 rapes.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, get off. I thought at one time I was the demon because you just don't have, get almost raped 3 times, and a man is coming in there to rape you, bigger than I will ever be, and you become the beast, and they're going like this.
Yeah.
I thought I was the demon for many, many, many
Wow.
years
I
until
that's deep. I never had those thoughts, but I definitely walked with them, which means I was with them. So
yep,
even on the streets, even with the holy work I was doing, I was in the black clubs and the electronic clubs at night dancing. I found out later that that saved my soul. I wasn't dancing with people; I was dancing by myself. Right?
yep.
It was a way to anchor my soul.
But you
But
had to go
yeah,
through all of that,
yeah,
Todd. You
yeah,
had to go through everything. When I'm working with the client, they say, "I'm sorry for you." I said, "Don't be sorry.
yeah,
I'm grateful."
yeah,
Because now that you can lean back and look at it through the observation to a higher consciousness, hell, that was great lessons, and I came out unscathed.
yeah. That's right. This is so crazy talking to you today. It's just bringing out so much. I woke up today. Like I'm literally, and again, I don't look at myself in human years, but I also look at what's been created and what's put before me. So 14 years ago, no job, no money, no family, no children in the house, no house, nothing, right? No reputation, no freedom because I was incarcerated for 34 days, and that was a whole other story. And now I find myself here. I'm in a country, technically I'm illegal. I've got $300. I get $750 a month from the government. I get a little bit from what I do here, but I have no access to get any cash now because my card doesn't work anymore. I don't have a phone anymore as of 4 days ago. And I'm wondering what spirit walk am I about to go on to now? And I'm not afraid at all. Not at all. I know that I'm about to go into service in a way that I haven't been, and I have been. But I mean, with a fortitude
Yeah,
that I
you're going
had
to be.
14 years, yeah. I can feel it in my bones. And I can't be the only one, but maybe I am, and maybe that's all I need to concern myself with, right?
Well,
You know?
but first of all, you don't want to talk about anything. You don't want to taint what the spirit is going to tell you, because anytime you start judging it or thinking maybe
Yeah.
that's what you've already tainted it.
Yeah,
So
you.
what I'm going to say, this is what I used to do every morning. I'd get up and I would take in the Holy Spirit from the just the energy of what was going on. I said, surprise me, and then that's all I did, because the surprise is really learning the lesson by not intervening into it, just allowing it to flow in and allow it and to really savor it. I mean, like a fine dinner. You savor those kind of things and cry. I mean, I could just be, I mean, you can see me. I can, when I get into some of these deep areas that I've been in, I can go right back into those tears because they were, tears of health and awakeness and love of self that most people will never see or hear or feel. And maybe they will, because there is going to be a light. The thing that you were talking, they're all saying Jesus is coming. Jesus is already here, honey. We are it. And there's going to be a lot. They're going to be looking because they're going to do it. I know what they're going to do. They're going to do Jesus sitting up in that sky,
Oh
and I'm
yeah.
going to take it. And then I told all of my clients, I said, if you see Jesus up in that sky, I said, walk backwards, walk backwards, walk backwards.
Project
And they,
Bluebeam. Project Bluebeam. Of course they
oh
are.
yeah, and it's mirror, and they know the
Yeah.
future. The only thing they know about the future, it can be done. What they don't know is how it can be done by energy. It's got to be by us.
Yeah.
So if they keep us so programmed to think that we're gonna go through these things, you're going. Well, I think it told me exactly COVID.
Yeah.
When I saw these people, these were some of my people were metaphysical people.
Mm.
These were spiritual people.
Yeah.
These were people who have been, I've worked with all my, in my career as a healer. They turned on me.
Yeah.
This is what I don't think people understand. There's a lot of anger in that. Are you okay?
Throat chakra.
Okay, what that is that, okay, take your hand, put
Mm.
it right there.
Mm.
No. Don't squeeze it.
No.
Feel the vibration of it. And then get attached to it, just like a magnet. Feel it.
Mm.
Start pulling it out. Pull, and go straight to the earth, because that's what earth
Mm.
energy.
Mm.
Pull. You're not pulling strong enough. You've got to pull it. Now go like this.
I feel like it's.
Move.
I feel like that. You know what I feel like is happening, and this has been a lot of the stuff that I'm coming to right now on this show is the culmination of a few
Yeah,
days, weeks, whatever. But is that
yeah,
I feel that my voice, my true voice, is coming in. It's the voice of my heart.
mhm.
That's what it feels like to me. That's where I'm at today. That's exactly what it feels like. And I think that's what you're talking about in terms of earlier when you were talking about, the reason you know a lie is because you used to lie. We've all been lying. Every fucking one of us has been lying. Right here. And we can't blame it on the external anymore. We can't. Because we're part of the composition as within, without. These men that came at you, the things that I ran into, 8 fights, 50 years old, 8 fights in 7 months. Like, what the hell was going on? But that was me. That was me getting into these fights. That was me working my stuff out. I
Are
don't
you
know.
shadow work?
Huh?
Yeah, shadow work. When you said
Hmm?
shadow work, I taught shadow work for years, but my shadow was a bitch. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
But when my shadow came back to me and told, because I really hated me, a part of me so bad. I mean, I hated it. I hated it. And I remember, well, this what started on that one was I was listening to this on the television. These two guys had a black guy, and he was gay, and they drug him in Texas. And they drug him through, and I mean, they took his skin off, they killed him. And I remember reacting. I went, "Oh my God! Oh, that's awful! I mean, that should be really." And all of a sudden, my soul stepped out of myself and said, and it looked just like what I was seeing in my imagination. That man, that you did that to me. Every time you hooked me behind the van, you drugged me there because you didn't hear me. You
Yep.
didn't listen. And I told you many times. And it's a very quiet voice. It's not a demanding voice. It's not you should do very because what it's waiting for to see if you'll listen and
Yeah.
follow it.
Yeah.
And that's what I've learned. But when that soul came out, I remember thinking, oh my God,
Yeah.
look what I did to my own self.
Yeah.
And I cried. I I really cried because it looked at me, and this is what my soul said. I would, if you need to, go on and hook me up behind the van and I'll follow. And I thought, oh my God, it loves me so much, it still would do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now there's the love that when I crossed over, that was the love I received. And this is what they've lied about.
Yeah. Exactly.
And then they gave a voice or an influencer, a preacher, whatever, that knows nothing, that's been educated by them, uh, us. Let's just
Mm.
start saying us.
Yeah. Yeah.
We did a really good job on ourselves. We did. We did such a good job. And we all fell for it until we got tired.
Yeah. That's right. Had enough. You
I've
had
had
enough,
enough.
and yeah, it's like my friend came on the other day and she said, it's like you have a stock pot, full of liquid, and the
Yeah.
top starts going like that, and
Yeah.
I was making some tea the other night, and it's exactly what happened, and the damn thing flew off and got hibiscus everywhere, but it's like that now. It's like I've had enough. I don't want to leave. I said that in December. I told you the story. That soft voice came in and said, "Be careful what you say." And I knew in
Because
that
I don't.
moment, Virginia, I knew what it was telling me. It was telling me, don't miss this opportunity, because
That's
you,
what
yeah,
I. That's what I've been
yeah,
told too.
yeah,
This is the best thing you'll ever see in your life. So don't give
yeah,
up. I mean, I heard it so many times because I could have left. So you have no idea. It's real easy for me to go in and out.
yeah,
I have friends that know. They say, "Are you going to leave?" You're not going to leave us because I can go out of this window right now. I mean, it's not that complicated
yeah.
because you really recognize that you're living in another kind of world anyway. But we came down here to create
That's right.
the higher consciousness. We didn't come down here to do the things that we were told to do.
No,
That's
this
Babylon.
that's the
That's
reason
Babylon.
that look, I'm with you too. I know I was a star because I remember I was like, this is boring. But you know
Yes.
what? We saw because there is something to be said for the level of density here. And my friend, I don't know if you remember Franco Di Nicola. I did about 52 shows with him, and he had several near deaths, and the most tapped in person I've ever met. Okay, from a multidimensional standpoint, other planetary incarnations,
Yeah.
full memory, and in fact, he transitioned in 21, but he it was his only Earth incarnation other than dropping in from time to time, right? And so one of the things that he had memory of was he would field souls that would disincarnate, souls that would
Oh,
physically hit. Okay, and he said in particular, he said that because somebody on a show asked about the suicide thing, and he said, "Well, let me tell you this, okay? This is what I used to do. That was part of my job, at the time. If it was a suicide," he said, the first thing they would say to him they'd come out of the earth realm, "Man, that was great. I want to go back."
that's true. Or the ones that I used to, because I can pick them up too when they
Mm,
cross over. They've suicided themselves. They're the first ones. And it's not just suicide, like drugs. Like
yeah,
I had one of my students that was only 19 years old, and Ben came to me because I heard that he was in the emergency room, and I knew he had drug problems about a long time ago, but his parents they didn't want to listen to me. But it doesn't matter. But that was so funny because I mean, we were because I was a Catholic educator, so I was in the church and everybody's calling. I get the phone call. I immediately went upstairs. I knelt down and I said, "Ben!" In my mind, I went, "Ben!" Now I don't normally do this, okay? But I just called him and he was right there.
yeah.
He said, "Listen, Ben," and I said, "Go down and look at your body to see what you've done to it." Well, within, because you talk about seconds,
Yeah.
milliseconds. He said, "I really messed up." I said, "How do you know?" We're discussing this. He said, "My kidneys are shutting down, and I'm almost brain dead." I said, "Well, it looks like we need to take you back."
Mm,
And I said, "How are you feeling?" And he said, "I don't know, but I'm glad I called you."
wow.
See,
Wow.
and I've done this to, and I've had people that, come in and they'll leave messages. This is why I said this makes me mad, because what they're going to do, this is another thing that we're going to do to ourselves. We're going to try to make us wrong, and they're going to try to, sacrifice us again, because we really did have a good time when we were doing all the evil and having all that fun. But we're coming back into this, and they're trying to still, that part of us still doesn't want to unite to who we really are.
Yeah.
But it's time, because this is in the Bible, 70 times 70. That is, you're going to generations to generations to generations to the very seed of your being. And you're going to clean that out.
Yeah.
And that's how you're going to clean the universe, because that is a job
Yeah.
right there.
That's a beautiful vision. That's true. That's the reality. And
It's the
what's the greatest thing? We all want to serve. What's the greatest service that you can do is clean up your own shit. And
that
we have the capability, and that doesn't mean that we did things wrong or right. It's just a matter of owning everything we've done. I had several past life memories of being in like a monastery, being in a religious fraternal order. Okay, as a child, I can remember being on a ship in the Gulf, a wooden ship. There was a bunch of kids, and they put us on a table, and then they would come in and molest us, and we didn't know that it wasn't right. You know what I mean? We didn't know pleasure. If something felt good. This is crazy, right? And so my point is so I had to go through some of that, and I had to go, okay, this happened and that happened. And I had this one memory of the, unshaven, what do you call it? Whiskers, unshaven, whiskey breath, cigarette breath. And it would come, and so when that stench would come in, I knew what was about to happen, right? And then one day in communion, as I was trying to find the alignment or whatever, I remembered that, and I flipped, and I became the victimizer, right? Like, it's just simply, as my soul's told me, you cannot divorce yourself from anything. You can't say to the universe, I accept everything in unity, consciousness, and oneness, except for that little 1% over there. That's not me. And my soul told me on the streets a long time ago, told me a lot of things but anyway, said to me, don't ever throw an absolute down to the universe.
That's true.
Wow.
And the universe has a lot of fun. It's funny, it's and it's tricky, everything, because it's going to do everything it can to get you to realize who you really are.
Yeah.
It
Yeah. That's
being.
right. That's
So
right.
you're fine. Yeah, I mean, when I learned that, but I mean, I still get caught up in my human self. But I mean, I learn a lot from it, because if I get mad, I go back in and I talk to myself. Right now, I've been working on my kidneys and my heart, because I have a kidney and a heart problem because of the near death experience before, and then others. But the thing is, I go in there and I tell them. I mean, I sit down with my kidneys and I say, okay, guys, we got to come together on this now. I'm a coach anyway, so I'm going to coach my own kidneys, and they go, we can do this. It's a team. We got to, and there's a lot of feelings inside that, yeah, it's like you're doing it. Yeah, you can feel it. Then you will feel the energy that comes, and then it goes into my heart, and my heart also receives it totally different.
Hmm.
And then
Yeah.
it just expands itself. And you're sitting down and building that up, because you should have empty spaces that you can push this body to go into particles.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
expandable.
Yeah. And I
Oh,
and
this
that
is.
and what
Do
you're
you know how
saying,
long I've been on this? Oh my gosh.
I just saw that it was 2 hours, 2 minutes, and 22 seconds when I looked up.
I felt it too when you did it, because I knew there was like, what?
Uh, yeah, just what you were saying about the heart and the kidneys, and what I was telling you earlier about how this has happened to me over the last few weeks. and making this distinction between certain parts of the body or organ and something out in the cosmos. But
Yeah.
the other thing is what you just spoke to, I've each it's like I don't know how to explain it, but it's like what the intel that's been coming in as my soul has been telling me. This is a universe. This is your universe. You speak to all of the inhabitants within your universe. You are God of this, and you're fractal as the micro is the math. You know, however that math works, I don't get it, but you don't have to. But to be able to feel, not only is this something that I'm one with, and that you know I'm one of the cells, and I'm the whole thing, right? I mean, I'm all of it, right? But it also is somehow, see, quantum entanglement connected to everything else. And this isn't just
Yeah. You're
fluffy love and light or new age bullshit. This is not. This is the fucking truth. Excuse my French, but thank you. You said you dropped the first F bomb, so I'm.
Did
But
I? Did I was the first? Oh, I'm sorry.
oh, you were when you were firing away when you first came on, yeah.
Oh,
But yeah,
well,
but
yeah,
this is the real
that's all.
thing.
Yeah.
You know, this is the real thing. You know, I've had a very open, public relationship with my wife. It was part of our service, and then we decided to go private. And it's been a challenge, you know. And one of the things that when it comes to this experience is the lie of loss, the lie of
Yeah.
lack. And so I've come into this space, even to this day, where I know she's right here, just like you.
Right.
I don't have to write a letter. I don't have to make a phone call. I can make an impression from right here, like we're doing in a physical way. But this was planned and agreed upon before we came down here. This show today. There's no
Yeah.
doubt in my mind,
Absolutely.
no doubt at
Yeah.
all. And
Yeah.
today's an
Here we
11 day, February 11th. So here we go.
That's why I chose it. That's why. Well, I gave you that because 1111 is that's one of my email as well. It's 111
Yeah.
because that was when I woke up. That's all I saw at the very beginning. When I woke up, I was. You got to understand. I was confused after you get when you get knocked out. Like I got. And then nothing was registering anymore. I mean, birds were talking, the grass was talking. I mean, it freaked me out. I'm not gonna lie to you, it scared me. I thought, oh man, they've done something bad. And to be walked out. But the thing that saved me is the week before I had the heart attack. When the man in the TV said, "Don't have a heart attack. Don't have a transplant, heart transplant." And I remember. And then the next week, I'm looking at it. And I was 46 years old. Just like you've had profound experiences, just like you have done, Todd. That was those waking up moments to say, wake up. I'm going to bitch slap you until you do get it.
I've had about three
Oh,
in the last 6 months,
okay.
but I knew them. I knew the minute they happened. They gave me on the spot intelligence, and I've had a couple of light ones in the last week, and now I know. Now I know what's happening. It's time. It's time for the next leg of this. I can feel it in my bones, whatever that means.
And you got to remember your energy. So as you live, coming up and getting more density in the energy of spirit, you start expanding it
Yeah,
and leveling it up into it's just like a volcano.
yeah,
You have to start from the earth,
yeah,
from the center, and you bring it up. But also, you're bringing this. This is when you wanted to go like this because there's the narrow road where these two start
yeah,
meeting and there is friction and it's magnetism. All
yeah,
we are is light or electricity
yeah,
and magnetism. That's it. So
yeah,
when you understand these two are doing this, they're creating frequency.
yeah.
It's so simple. So
Well,
and I was a science. I mean, I have a degree in science. If I'd known this, I would never gone into college.
I didn't last in
Because I
college.
was,
I didn't last in
well,
college.
Wait,
I set
wait.
up that was I I worked 60 hours a week in college, running a landscape company in Nacogdoches, Texas, and for some extra money, and because I have this thrill seeking nature, which I've calmed down now, I broke into the business office, the business building, which was 4 floors high, because this guy had the master key, and stole test and got paid for it. But I really did it because I was just having a wild hair. Anyway, I got busted. I got busted. I got beaten up by 6
No, if you
cops. And,
you could have done better that way.
yeah, I don't want to
Well,
learn. I don't want to learn the hard ways anymore. Now I'm good with it. But it's so
right,
fun.
and see,
It's so funny though to look back at things and like you were saying earlier, every single thing. I would. I always feel like that the today is the best day of my life. It's better than the day before. This is the best show I've ever done, and the next one will be better. Like that's the way I've always looked at it. But if I had to go back, and I don't really do that. I don't have regrets. I don't look back in that fashion. But those 2 years on the streets were the most important years of my life. That
and that's what,
those were
yeah.
amazing. Yeah, the pain and the pleasure, all of it. Yeah,
Well, that's where you have to go in. And I mean, I want you to go into full meditation, but I want you to drop down into your body.
yeah,
And it feels like you're in a casket. This is why the Masons do what they did. Now, I don't know, I've never talked to a Mason, but I got downloaded a lot of this information
yeah,
because of what I studied, all of what's going on here with the secret societies. And they are real.
yeah.
But I put myself in my own mind in my casket. But it was like it was like a wood one,
Uh huh.
and I could feel all the dimensions. And then I expanded my body because when you're laying down, if you've seen enough, there's a lot of space. Well, I expanded myself to get to that space where I could feel the walls,
Right.
and I knew I could make the distinction from wood, from plasma to
Uh,
body. And then one day I just started pushing. I said, I know I can break through the walls. And I did.
wow, that's a good
And
exercise.
it's an
And
excellent
I think what
because
you were referring to, I think I've actually seen this. Part of their ritual or
yes,
initiation is they not only do they put you in a casket, but they also sodomize and do some other
yeah. Well,
sick
they want
sex magic or whatever. Yeah, yeah,
it is. It's magic. But when I'm sitting in there, I knew that there was a reason. I mean, everything I've done that I'm telling you, I've been directed by my higher self. I don't. The Jenny Drake or Virginia Drake that
yeah.
did not talk about this. Also, I'm dyslexic. Best thing that ever happened to me is I was dyslexic because I have always seen things differently.
Right.
So and that's one reason why I didn't. When I had my first stroke, I didn't go to the hospital. I didn't go anywhere. I went into the mirror work and started doing reflection mirror to light into my brain and watching why my eye was working. And I could not talk for 9 months, but I rewired everything that you're talking about. You just learned through your body electrically to the stars.
Yeah. Wow.
That's what you did.
Wow. You are you're something. You're a beautiful reflection. And
It
I'd love to just keep going, but I got another show. In fact, I had to call. I messaged the second show earlier and said I have to reschedule. I'm sorry. I didn't have time to like type everything and tell them what happened today with electricity. But yeah, it's been such a pleasure. So you're in Kentucky, and it's very possible. I don't know what's going to happen here on my end, but it's very possible I could be walking the USA of A, if that's what my soul is asking me to
well,
do.
all you have to do is divine order, divine timing, divine plan. Make it easy, and make sure I don't miss it.
Yeah, yeah. I don't want to miss anything. If I've learned anything living in this little town, it's been literally like what people call 5D. You know, like where do you go? And there's 20 dogs with no collars on the street. You never hear them fighting. They hardly even bark. You know, uh, you
Feel
know,
the, that's a sacred place.
yeah,
That's what it is. You have been brought to us. Now, if you're going to be in that sacred place, you want to let that energy come through you.
Yeah.
You want to, there where you need to start. There is a area. I mean, you go to the bay because you're going in to
Yeah.
bring in the water. That's the structural water that you need. And then what you're going to go is there's obviously there's some trees or there's
Yeah.
some
No,
not a
it's the
forest.
trees. It's the
You
trees.
need to go,
How
okay,
do
you
you
need to
see
go
that?
to the
Huh?
because I'm a remote viewer.
See, so I go. See, it's always
You
been
go down.
it's always been the trees for me. I was told day one when I first got my downloads, I was shown the trees. I'm like, what do you mean the trees? So everywhere I go, they welcome me, right? And so there's a splay of trees, coconut trees,
Yeah,
and
yeah, I can.
I sit in this one spot. I was thinking about this 2 minutes before you said that, and that's what I do. I'll put my back against it. I'll sit next to it and put my hands on it, and it's always I switch around. It's a group of trees. It's a soul family of trees, right?
And
And
they'll talk to you
yeah,
individually, or
yeah,
they'll put you in a circle, and then they'll talk to you in chorus.
yeah, yeah. They talk
But
to me. They've been talking to me. They definitely
but I
talk to
want
me, and they
but I
they also bring healing to me.
yeah,
They bring
but I want
physical
you to
healing.
learn something here.
Huh?
There's something here. There's a pattern. You're in a grid. Okay, I want you to go back to the bay.
Uh,
Go from your center point that you're in. You go to your center point. Now take that line and go straight to where you go to the bay.
okay.
Okay, now I want you to connect the center point to that point to where the trees are and draw a line. There's your connection. There is the energetic lines of those
Yeah,
two things.
yeah. Uh, that's weird too because it's like a triangle. Okay,
That's the way it should.
so I actually I don't know how you're doing this, but but you know how you go on Google, and you Google Earth and you and the satellite. So I actually because I've noticed this a long time ago. What I noticed was when I left Houston in 2016 with just my suitcase. I went all over the country, and then one day I got this map. I was at a Cracker Barrel. They have those maps, U.S. maps, and I started drawing the lines. They were all these triangles. And then not too long ago, well, it was 5 days ago, I lost my phone. So I went on my phone finder, right? And it gave me the thing and showed me where the last location was. And then I looked at where I'm at, because I'm looking at the beach. There's a tree in the way, but
Because
I'm straight this way, over here, and it was a
but it's
triangle.
not,
Huh?
it's mathematics. It's geometric.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
all geometric, and I taught geometrics.
Yeah.
I mean, everything that I've done, I was a social worker, a psychiatric social worker. I was prepared for this journey by education means, but now I'm into of understanding
Yeah.
the true knowledge. This is what that's talking about. The tree of life. This is what you do. This is what life is. The way you want to create it is through the tree of life, not the tree of knowledge.
That's right.
Knowledge is nothing. It's when you take that knowledge to find the wisdom behind it is when it becomes truth.
That's right. That's right. Yeah,
I know.
that's exactly right. Uh, wow. Okay, we're gonna have to get together again. That's a lot. That's a lot.
Yeah, process it. Now I'm going to give yourself time. I want you to lay down and really just absorb it because you didn't even get half of what you wanted.
Hmm.
Because we don't. You
Yeah.
can't. I'm immediately if I'm going somewhere to find the energy of a house or what if there's a ghost or whatever. I know that everything that's going to go on, my soul will take everything even down to the dust, but my physical will not. So but I've got myself so trained that my eyes will move, and that's what I need to do in the present moment.
Hmm.
But my soul brings it forward to a different state of mind.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
really a beautiful flow. It really is.
Yeah, it is. Well, listen, I really appreciate it. Thank you for coming in and honoring us with your presence, and I'll be reaching out to you.
I know
Thank,
you will.
thank you.
I love you dearly. You take care and stay grounded, okay?
All right, I love you too. Take care. Thank you.